Hello hunters, and welcome back to my story. Let's begin part 14. German's attacks are frantic and not coordinated. He's gone berserk and can't control his power. Atka uses this to his advantage and gets some good hits on German. Then German gets even stronger and shoots powerful blasts everywhere. One flies towards Franco and Atka deflects it. He tells German that he doesn't want anyone not involved to get hurt and that he just wants a good fight. And he tells German to calm down and control his power. Then he explains to everyone that he only did what he did to draw out German's latent power, and that he had no idea that this would happen. Everyone else now sees why he did that, and he's a good person after all. Then suddenly, the red glow in German's eyes disappears, and he thanks Atka for helping him get stronger. He is no longer berserk. The fight continues, and it's pretty even, but Atka wins and moves on to the third round. Next up, Dande from Flora fights Cowie from Eladin, and Cowie wins and moves on to round 3. In the next two fights, people from Earth are fighting amongst each other. Akiro vs Stry, and Lee vs Jay. They all use their ultimate forms in these fights as well, and Stry and Lee are the winners. Next up, Godi faces Magi, and once again Magi wins easily. Next up, Alexis fights King Orpano. Orpano is able to win easily once he transforms. Next up, Hikage and Hikari fight each other. It's a close match, but Hikage wins at the end. Next up, Junior fights Seko. Junior found Seko's weakness when watching Raiki's fight, so Junior is able to win. Next up, Roshan fights Lily. Much to Hikari's dismay, Roshan defeats her and moves on to round 3. The next 5 battles are Eric vs Gray, Pitch vs Ire, Rose vs Leon, Enzo vs Pierre, and Spence vs Cornet. The winners, who move on to round 3, are Gray, Pitch, Rose, Enzo, and Spence. Now the last battle of round 2 begins, and it's Gear vs Spirit. They have been wanting this fight since Gear was let out of jail. Spirit surprises everyone by unveiling his silver form. Then they both fight and are somewhat even. It's an epic battle, but Spirit wins in the end. And now round 2 is over. Now 15 warriors remain and everyone prepares for round 3. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Gerald, John, Josh, and Joel are now at Blair's house. And much to their surprise, the two women aren't there alone. Hans and Sam are there, guarding the house. John, Josh, and Joel attack Hans, but Hans defeats them easily. Then Gerald shows up and says that Hans should give up because he's stronger than those 3 put together. Then Hans says he's stronger than all 4 of them put together. Then he says that there's someone stronger than all 6 of them put together. Gerald asks who it is, then he turns around and gets kicked in the face by Shelia. Then he's sent flying and knocked out cold. Shelia saw those 4 escape the city and followed them out here. Now that all 4 of them are knocked out, Shelia takes them back to custody and tells the guards to keep a close eye on them at all times. Back at the tournament, the third round is about to begin. Elda says that since there's an odd number of fighters this time, he'll randomly select one warrior to automatically advance to round 4. He chooses Hikage. Now the first battle of round 3 is Atka vs Cowie. Atka holds back to give Cowie a good fight. This Chimera proves to be quite formidable in his transformed state, but Atka wins and moves on to round 4. Next up, Stry fights Lee. Stry is trained harder than ever and is able to win, advancing to round 4. Next up is Magi vs Orpano. Even when Orpano is at his best, he loses easily and Magi moves on to round 4. Next up, Roshan and Junior fight. It's another very close fight, but Roshan wins. Next up is a battle between 2 dark spirits, Gray vs Pitch. Gray wins. Next up, Rose and Enzo fight. Enzo wins, and Hikage is a bit upset about that. The last fight of round 3 is Spence vs Spirit. Spirit wins easily, and now round 3 is over. At this point, there are no more Archipelagians or Flowerlings in the tournament. Meanwhile, on Planet Dark, trouble is brewing. 9 dark spirits have raised an army, and they're discussing the project that nearly ended on Earth. Goo 2. The lab he was being developed in was destroyed, but a lot of his data was safely transferred to their secret lab on Dark, so the work has continued there and will be completed in 6 months. These 9 dark spirits are a sort of albino race known as the Spriggan, who have enhanced magic power, and their names are Firay, Dragot, Boku, Alcest, Soul, Peace, Joji, Hunter, and Nardix. They have turned against their king spirit thanks to a certain group of people. Now they're helping with Gutu and are also headed to Planet Archipel for another mission. Back at the tournament, round 4 is about to begin, but now Eldest wants to spice things up by shuffling the battles. With the fights mixed up, now Atka fights Gray, Stry fights Roshan, Magi fights Hikage, and the last battle, Spirit vs Enzo, is still the same. Atka defeats Gray, Stry defeats Roshan, Magi defeats Hikage, and Spirit defeats Enzo. They were all great battles. Gray and Roshan put up good fights. Hikage barely lost, making it the first time in the tournament that Magi actually had to try and fight, and during Enzo's battle, he also transformed into the killer Orphan's form. Now there are no more warriors from Orpanai or Elada in the tournament, and now round 4 is over. Meanwhile, the Spriggan and their army have arrived on Planet Archipel, and without their strongest warriors there, The Archipelians have no way to fend off the invasion. They enter King Ingeli Archipela's palace and steal his treasure. Then they haul it off to their ship and head back to Planet Dark. They needed those materials that are only found on Archipel to craft magic weapons. These weapons will be wielded by their allies that turn them against spirits. Back at the tournament, round 5 is about to begin. Eldest reveals that this is actually the finals, and it will be a 2v2 match. Atka and Stry versus Spirit and Magi. It's a team battle, but both sides don't want to fight together because they're all very prideful. Atka and Spirit have been wanting a rematch for years, as Stry has also wanted to fight Magi himself. Both fights begin, and Atka, Stry, and Spirit go into their strongest forms right off the bat. Both fights go on at once. Atka and Spirit are evenly matched, and Stry and Magi seem to be too. But then Magi unleashes his full power, and it's something that Atka and Stry can't sense. It's magic power, and it's very intense. This shows that Magi is by far Spirit's strongest pupil. He turns the tides against Stry, and Stry isn't doing too well in the fight anymore. Magi manages to knock Stry off the ring, and this is when Atka and Spirit stop fighting to see what happened. When everyone thinks Stry is lost, he blasts himself back onto the ring before he hits the ground. Then he hits Magi with a powerful lightning attack. Stry has somehow managed to use magic power, despite Orpinus normally being unable to. Orpino is very shocked by this because there is a legend that states that once every 1,000 years, one Orpinus can unlock the ability to use magic power. And now it seems that Stry, a half-breed, is the one of this era. Stry is now the one beating Magi thanks to his magic power, and he ends up defeating Magi with his new attack, the Lightning Hammer. Magi is down and out of the ring, and he tells Stry well done, because he's the first person since Spirit to defeat him in battle. Stry is completely exhausted and returns to his normal state. Spirit tries to knock him off, but Atka stops him and they continue fighting. Their epic battle continues, and their signature blast attacks, Atka's Bane of Darkness and Spirit's Spirit Cannon, collide. After the beams explode, Atka and Spirit go for one last full power attack, and they both punch each other in the face. They're knocked back into their base forms, and they both fall out of the ring at the same time. With this, Stry is the winner of the tournament. Everyone from Earth managed to surprise the other fighters in this tournament, and those fighters have all surprised Atka and the others too. They have made plenty of new friends today. Now Stry gets the wish from Eldest. He knows what Atka was going to wish for if he won, so Stry decides to wish for that. He wishes for his father, Curtis, to be resurrected. The simple task for Eldest, so he does that and wills Curtis there. Then Curtis appears in the middle of the arena. He's finally back and everyone is happy to see him. He's very surprised, but Eldest explains the situation. Then Orpino approaches him and apologizes for his actions. Then he says that he's proud of Curtis and his children. Then he reveals that Enzo is the son of his apprentice, Nate, and that Curtis is his own son. This surprises everyone because no one knew of this or would have expected it. This means that Atka, Stry, Lee, and Jay are his grandchildren. Alexis then says that her and Kevin are also royalty. Then Orpino jokingly says that Atka will be uniting the two kingdoms. Then Atka says that he's not ready to get married quite yet. But then Alexis says that she would love for them to have a royal wedding, and that she has always dreamed of being proposed to in a forest in another country, ever since she was a kid. Then Enzo realizes that his father and Akira's grandfather lost in the first round to a flowerling. Then Nate says that he hasn't trained in years, and that he was only brought to the tournament so Orpino could reveal the secret to Enzo. And he tells them all that they brought out the good guy in him, and he thanks them. Then he tells his men that from now on their kingdom will no longer be aggressive. Then Hikage and Hikari promise to visit the flowerlings soon, and Roshan and the others plan to stay on planet Eldin for a year. With that, everyone else leaves. Atka and Spirit's teams are now joined by Curtis, and they leave together and stop by Planet Dark for a while. While they're there, German shows up, and he goes up to Spirit. He tells him that an army had invaded his planet while they were at the tournament. It was led by the 9 Spriggan, and survivors of the attack overheard their plans and told German and company when they arrived. They're going to rebel against Spirit and invade Earth in 6 months to finish their Project Goo 2. Even if it takes war to do it. Spirit says they will do something about it, and hopes that German and his friends can fix the place up. Then German leaves. Spirit leaves his 9 warriors on Planet Dark, and then all 12 of them return to Earth. On the way there, they discuss a plan. Spirit will try to find them on his planet, but if that doesn't happen, everyone on Earth must train and be prepared for a war in 6 months. Spirit will show up a few days before if he's unable to locate them. With that, Spirit drops everyone off at Earth, and heads back to his world. Thanks for watching part 14 of this story. Stay tuned for part 15 to find out what happens after the Alliance trains for 6 months. I'll see you guys then. Happy hunting.